Okay. And now on to our 22nd ranked Minnesota Timberwolves, who went 19-45.
More than 20 wins this year?
Yes, I'll say yes. Do you remember last season whenever they started like 8-6 or something, and they got real cocky and they said like they posted that tweet and said like the Wolves are going to be bad this year, and then after that tweet they won 11 more games the entire season or something, and everybody flames them for it. Like it's usually like every 2 days I'll see that tweet on my timeline. I don't know. Karl Anthony Towns, really good talent. D'Angelo Russell, we know how I feel about him. Anthony Edwards, first overall pick. Not sure how him and Russell really fit together, but they didn't really lose anybody. You know what I mean? They brought Ricky Rubio back, who I'm excited for. I like Rubio, but I don't really know who's – I don't know, man.
To me, they just have such a big hole in a lot of positions.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Karl Anthony Towns is guaranteed 5, right? That's your center. That's the one position on that team that's like, okay, that's set in stone. Cat would be an automatic starter on any other team. Now look at the rest of their roster. Besides D'Lo, who else is going to really start on any other team? Malik Beasley.
Oh.
We're not going to get into him and all that Scotty business, but he had a whole deal going on off the court. Juan Hernan Gomez is questionable. What, you're going to say something about Malik?
Malik Beasley's reputation has went down the drain this offseason, dude. He went from like a promising young bench wing to a guy who's going to end up in TMZ articles all the time. It's not a good look. This offseason was very bad for Malik Beasley.
Yeah, and the whole Minnesota roster to me is just confusing. I mean, Juan Hernan Gomez, he's all right. Josh Okogie, nothing special to me. The rest of that roster is just like, okay, what really stands out to you besides Karl Anthony Towns? D'Lo is, like we said, he's still loading. I don't know when he's actually going to finish loading because, honestly, how many other point guards would you take over D'Angelo Russell? I feel like that list can get up past 10, at least.
Like 23, 24. I'm kidding. He's not that bad. But, yeah, like I'd have him around like the 12th, 11th point guard, right outside that top 10. You could make an argument for him being around 10, but I don't know, man. It's
Anthony Edwards starting scares me. That to me, and I know this is drastic, but that to me reminds me a lot of like Ben McLemore starting or Dion Waiters start. It just, and I know Anthony Edwards is a better player, but he's not developed and established in any way that he looks like he can be a starter to me. And I think going to a team like Minnesota where it's like a team like the old Kings where it's like put out the young players and you guys are the stars, that's too much pressure on him.
Yeah, I don't like Anthony Edwards. I said before that I'm really not that big on like that excited on his career. I just don't think he really he kind of reminds me of a more hyped up Dion Waiters. He's not that efficient. He doesn't really play defense. He takes a lot of shots. He has the ball in his hands a lot. There really isn't any offensive movement with him out there. At least that's what it was at Georgia. But you also have to remember he reclassified. So technically this year would be his freshman year in college. But at that same time, I don't know if he's the right guy to start next to D'Angelo Russell, and I don't know if they'll help each other at all, if you know what I mean. Like, I feel like they're a bad fit.
Yeah, I know. You're pretty much calling him a mailman. That's what you're saying.
Come on.
I get it. Anthony Edwards, in that situation, like we said, I don't see much of potential to really grow into the player that he should be. He really needed to go somewhere that could develop him. And this draft hurts because these players really needed to be on probably better teams, but they're going to go to some really, really bad teams. And we'll see how that works out. Let's go to our buy or sell, and let's start off with Ryan Saunders, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
We, that's one of the reasons we liked Ricky when he became available. I'll say it again. I like multiple ball handlers. And, 2 days of practice, we like the work that we've been able to get in. These guys have pushed themselves, through the ramp up. And having 2 point guards helps keeps things organized. And, the luxury to have that is something that's very beneficial. But, the ability to play them together, too, at times is also beneficial because you can have two guys initiate, and D'Lo has long said he likes playing with another ball handler too. And so, when he might be getting blitzed in a pick and roll, you can move him off the ball and let Ricky initiate it. So we see a lot of benefits to it.
So there's Ryan Saunders talking about how much of a luxury it is to have 2 point guards on his team that are both starting caliber point guards. Buy or sell, D'Angelo Russell will be the first to go of the big three between Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns, and D'Lo.
It's a weak big three. I would agree. I'd buy because I feel like they're really not gonna. They're not gonna want to get rid of Karl-Anthony Towns anytime soon, or even if he requests a trade. I feel like they're gonna make all kind of moves. Like, do you want him? Do you want him? How about this guy? Anthony Edwards. They just took him first overall. Doubt they want to punt on him right away unless they could involve him in a deal to get Booker. But I feel like that whole idea is long gone now. They know I'm not a big fan of D'Angelo Russell. I've said it a couple times. The man's still deloading in 2021. It's going to be 2021 soon. He's still loading. That's not deloading anymore. That's de-stalling. But I'm not high on him. Never have been really. He was fun to watch in Brooklyn. I will say that. Like, I'll admit it. Like, he had that one good comeback against the Kings. But
all right, see, like, why do you need to bring up the Kings? Like, what's the point in just shitting on my life?
But I would say that he's going to be the first one to go for sure. Amir, what do you think?
This one's a tough one for me because I look at Karl-Anthony Towns, and a good example to me is Devin Booker. You talked about it earlier. We both thought they might have a chance of getting Booker, but I did mention in our first podcast, I said I highly, highly doubt Phoenix would give up Devin Booker after they just went 8-0 in the bubble. And after the fact that they just really built that chemistry. I was even a little bit surprised to see them trade Kelly Oubre, but it made sense because they went 8-0 without him in the bubble. Going to Devin Booker, though, I look at that and I'm like, who does Karl-Anthony Towns look at around him? One of the guys he's looking at is the guy in Phoenix, Devin Booker. That's one of his friends, yes. And that's a guy that he either wants to be like or he wants to pass him at some point. Because at the end of the day, all those young guys, they're all in that same class and that same age range. They want to be the best. And I think the fact of him being with Chris Paul now and Phoenix having a better team, that's going to really hurt Minnesota's chance at keeping Karl-Anthony Towns. Cat could easily be like, look at what Phoenix is doing. They built a team around him. You guys brought me D'Angelo Russell. And like you said, this guy's still stalling. And he hasn't done anything ever since Brooklyn. And I agree with you in the fact that I think D'Lo is going to be the first to go. I'm going to buy. But I wouldn't be surprised if Karl-Anthony Towns leaves before either Edwards or D'Lo.
It's just, I don't know, man. They better hope they have a good year because Golden State has their first-round pick.
Minnesota is crazy.
They are. They're doing everything they can to make Karl-Anthony Towns happy. Like, he is good friends with Russell, but just because you're good friends with someone doesn't mean it's a good fit. Like, Harry Giles really is best friends with Tatum off the court, right? And the Celtics had a hole at center, but the Celtics never went after Giles. Just because you're best friends in real life doesn't mean it's going to work out on the court.
So you're saying we wouldn't have good on-court chemistry?
Probably not, no. You told me before you shot 31% in high school.
I never said those words.
I was hoisting.
You got an award for best foul shooter because they couldn't figure out any other award to give you.
No, I got it because I shot 71% from the free throw line.
You probably also got most improved your sophomore year, right?
Just
because, like, on your rookie year, you were the guy that just brought the water, but then by your sophomore
please stop. Just
the guy that brought the donuts. He went from the guy that carried the waters to the guy that brought donuts. We know.
Move on.
Speaking of your guy, Karl-Anthony Towns, Caleb, buy or sell, Karl-Anthony Towns is going to get traded before the end of his contract.
Using my second hold, I'm not sure if he wants out really, but like I could see him saying like, you know what, trade me, and it wouldn't surprise me. But I also wouldn't be surprised to see him stay there. I'm going to hold.
That's not an answer, but okay.
I told you I give myself 2 an episode, and this is my second one.
I'm going to go with bye. I think there's no chance Karl-Anthony Towns stays in. Again, Minnesota. Minnesota's cold, man. Like, I know we talked about weather in Wisconsin and how Bogey didn't want to go to Milwaukee because it's cold. Bro, Minnesota is freezing. To me, Minnesota is one of the worst places to go to if you're an NBA player. It's kind of nice. I've seen some pictures. I follow a guy that used to work for the Kings. His name is Shabazz Khan. He's the digital guide. He posts a ton of pictures of Minnesota, like downtown Minnesota with the skyline and everything. It looks really nice. But again, it's Minnesota. It's freezing, man. That shit gets like negative 15 degrees.
Minnesota is a place where I'd like to visit one day, like just to be able to see like all like the nature and stuff. But like, I would never want to play there.
Yeah,
like,
we know you're white. Karl-Anthony Towns has what? 4 more years left on his contract at $29 million, 31, 33, and 36. No player options, no nothing in that. So that's 4 more years of control for Karl-Anthony Towns. If I'm Minnesota and Karl-Anthony Towns says, hey, get me out of here, I say, hey, shut up. I'll trade you when I want to. I'm not trading you right now. There's no benefit in them trading him, but I do think they will ultimately give in to him. And
yeah, I do think he'll end up being traded. There's no way he's there after this contract. I'll say that.
Well, too bad because you already said hold. So you got no more holds left. Last one.
And at guard, a 6'6" shooting guard from Georgia. You might have heard his raps on the SoundCloud. Let's give it up for Anthony Edwards.
I feel like one of the great things is Coach Vanderpool took me on his wing, and he realized I can be a really good defensive player. And he taught me, like, areas to cut off, areas where we want them to get to, where we don't want them to get to. So I feel like my defense has improved since I got here. How helpful the guys are. I feel like that's the most important thing, the best thing about the team. The guys are very helpful to the young guys, the older vets. They always helping us. So I feel like they encourage us, and we'll get better, and we're going to grow together.
So that's Caleb's guy, Anthony Edwards, talking about how his defense is already improving. He had a lot of hate this offseason about how bad his defense is, and he's smart. He knows his weakness in his game. With that being said, if Anthony Edwards is the best player in this class, Minnesota is a playoff team. Buy or sell?
So there is no way they're making the playoffs. Dude, the West is so stacked. It's going to be so hard for them to get into the playoffs. They might be really good. They might even win 25. What year was it that the Western Conference had like 5 50-win teams or something? There was one year where the Western Conference had like what, 5 50-win teams, and like the team, like the 3 teams that missed the playoffs were like at 500 or above. That could be what this year is like for the Western Conference. And truthfully, well, they won't have 50 wins. You know what I mean? Because it's short 10 games less. But it'll be a very competitive conference. I don't see a way that they get into the playoffs.
I agree with you. I'm going sell. Even if Anthony Edwards is the best player in this class, I don't think that means much. I mean, this draft class is not great. And, yeah, there will be a star or 2 in this draft class, just like there is in every draft class. But I feel like a lot of these players are going to come on really slow, and it's going to take them a while. And even if Edwards is the best, there's not much talent else on that roster. D'Lo, we don't know what he's going to do. Karl-Anthony Towns, yes, he's a really good player. But, again, just a little bit of that to me is a little bit of inflated stats. I know Karl-Anthony Towns is super talented, but some of it is inflated to me. I'm going to sell. I don't see it happening.
I feel like every single high-volume scorer or guy that puts up amazing stats on consistently bad teams, there has to be some sort of inflated stats there along the lines. You know what I mean? Like there has to be
say that about DeMarcus Cousins again.
I didn't say that about DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins, if you look at his stats compared to the primes of every other center in NBA history, like his prime is like a top 5 prime of any center ever. And I know that once you take Wilt out of the equation, because Wilt, that wasn't fair.
Wilt has too many baby mamas, so he doesn't count.
Wilt slept with over 10,000 women, premarital. Freak.